If there's no difference, no event is happening. And if there is no event, then there is no movement. If there's no movement, there's no lived time. So time is not a container. Time is the felt relational distance between states of embodiment. The understanding and understanding of what time is offering to us, the experience of time and all the phenomena that we know. And we're going to look into the problem of time as science declares it. The problem of time is that quantum theory and relativity describe time very differently. So physicists basically don't yet fully know whether time is fundamental or if it emerges from a deeper process. So is that, I'm not going to go into the details of it. It's just that they're unclear. So in case you don't know how to deal with time, nobody knows. I find this relieving. But we can basically collect the things that we already know. And I would like to focus on the embodiment of time, because everything the body senses is some kind of truth. And then we're at least not in the theory, but in the practical layer of time experience, and how we can make time a resource, or how we can see time as something that serves us and that we can realize instead of time realizing us. Guido Tononi, for all those who know him, he's a neuroscientist and psychiatrist, and he is the founder of the integrated information theory. And that this theory says that consciousness is not just information everywhere, but it's integrated information generated by a whole system over and above its parts. So it's a very complex thing. If you want to look it up, it's easy enough to visualize, but hard to talk about. But basically, as I said, it's not about that the information is everywhere, but the way how information is integrated. And relating this to time is not this beautiful line I'm always quoting. John Seals said, he criticized Tononi, saying that information is spread like a thin layer of jam all around the universe, basically. And if you look at that, how it's actually meant, because it's integrated. Time is not just jam spread everywhere. Information is not simply available everywhere equally. And now we come to what time does for us. Time can be understood as the relational ordering of change. Everything needs to be in order. So for many people whose consciousness is younger, simply because they are younger or because they subconsciously decided to rest there, that means things have to be in timely order. And only when we get social emotionally older, things start to be like equal or simultaneous or overlapping, or even like being backwards, when we have some certain peak experiences where we understand that from this moment we actually create something in the past. So all these things are a matter of either peaking into a higher state of consciousness or developing into a higher stage of consciousness, where we are generally more capable of having these experiences without immediately sorting them out as untrue. So the time is an ordering principle of information, and it allows us to understand that information is in particular areas of our aliveness, timely, denser or less dense. And we experience that as times where everything is happening. Let's say the days before Christmas, or the days before, in Europe, where there is a lot of long summer holidays, the weeks before the summer holidays, where everybody needs to get stuff done before everybody's taking off finally into some holiday. And basically, time allows information systems to distinguish one state, moment, or possibility from another. So time is simply just an ordering system. And time is felt so when information differentiates. If there's no difference, no event is happening. And if there is no event, then there is no movement. And if there's no movement, there is no lived time. So time is not a container. Time is the felt relational distance between states of embodiment, information, movement, and becoming. This has been the theory part. I'm done with the theory now. I just wanted to give you a little bit of what is the edge of research here. And now translating this, I would immediately like to get very practical and have your current use case in the sense of where do I currently feel like I am either stuck, time is too fast, time is too slow, some time is too overwhelming, too dense, time is too empty. Whatever your use case is, make sure you have that handy when we go through the next part of today, how time can be understood via the body and how we can make time our ally. So make this very practical, apply this to one particular intention that you have, one thing you want to realize where you understand that time is of the essence. First thing, time is not fixed. I think that should be clear from our introduction. It is a malleable manifestation field. We could also say realization field. If you don't want to use the word manifestation because it's a buzzword, manifestation, realization, it's all the same. It's how we co-create our reality. Time is not something we move through passively. It is generated through embodied orientation, attention, and movement. Why is that? Because when we were toddlers, when you're born, I think most of those present have heard this from me. When you were born, when you were in the womb, your needs have been immediately given. Whatever you needed, the solution was instant. There was no time gap. There was no lag. The moment you are born into this world and the umbilical cord is cut, you have to do something so your needs are being met, which means you have to express yourself somehow. You have to indicate, you have to intend. And we are totally helpless unless we articulate ourselves as babies. And only when we can start to move, as in crawling, when we're toddlers, we see something, I don't know, a caregiver or a toy or something that sparks our interest, and then we start to move towards it. And this is how we create the feeling, the sense of time in our bodies. Because we understand, we understand literally that it takes time to get from where we are now to our need being met. And it empowers us to get there by ourselves. We don't have to yell or cry or make a noise, express ourselves to be given help. We can get it ourselves. This is how we make time for the first time, through the body. And time is created via the realization that it takes time to move through space. So first question to ponder when it comes to the timing and the whole time idea in your intention, wherever you currently long for, whatever you, being the toddler, is reaching to. This toy over there, I want that. Whatever your toy is, whatever your intention is, question number one is, what about your intention seems to take time? What is it? If time is structuring information, then this gives you a clear indicator where you believe time to be not your ally, but of hindrance. And to make time, we're going to look into how to make time your friend in that sense. Time is on your side, etc. The second point we're going into is the future self, what we call some identity in the future can be accessed now and always is accessed now. Like this essence that we have in our beingness, we wouldn't have the idea if part of it was not already realized. It's just not all of it, because if all of it have realized that, if all of us have realized that, then if we would mirror it on the outside. The more we realize on the inside, the more we realize on the outside. We mirror, basically. So what that means when you look at time, the future is not later, even we call it the future. The future is the state of being, and it requires a different identity than the one we have right now. Once that is embodied, the action reorganizes around it. So question number 2 is, how do I feel? What's the state I'm in when my intention is true? Classic manifestation practice. How does it feel in the body? Beautiful practice. Write down this intention of yours, one line, give it a little bit of detail. Not too much, but clear intention. And then what will I feel when I have this? What's the feeling this gives me? And then you access this feeling by doing little things that give you the same feeling. This is the best way to get into the receiving state, basically. Third thing, time bends when identity shifts. So the real timeline jump, another buzzword, is not wishful thinking, but it happens when identity changes. So shifting the version of self that is brought to life. How do you walk, talk, think, act, etc., when miracles are normal? Like what you now consider that would be a miracle if I had it like that. How would I behave? What's the trackable behavior of that state that we just identified in the earlier question? And then how do I live from that state? Even if I don't have the state, if I can hold it all the time, how do I live from it? And it's basically, how do I move through my day when this is already true? Fourth part, manifestation is entanglement with a desired reality. So we can use quantum entanglement as a metaphor here. When you connect with a desired future, with an intention, your present choices, energy, and actions begin drawing that reality in. It's just a reverse engineering. You know, you have the intention, from that you create the feeling, from that feeling you create trackable behavior, and you entangle yourself through all these steps with this new identity. So question number 4 is, how would I decide if my wish was already true? For example, I'm taking some very blunt example. If I desire to have more resources, or if I desire to be more impactful, that's a common desire we all have. I want to be more impactful. That means I have to have more visibility. That means I have to know how to do the whole visibility thing without having to constantly post on 7 channels, which is overwhelming me immediately. So I need resources to learn that. I need to know, where can I learn this and how much is it, and can I afford this, or which is the most important, in which order. And then you see time is the ordering system. What needs to happen first? So you reverse engineer it. And if you were already living in incredible invisibility and henceforth impact, how would you decide what you do today? Point number 5, collapsing timelines means choosing one potential over many. So this is the whole timelines thing. And now we get into a bit more of a deep end. So the first 4 things were super basic. Now it already gets more fun, how to play with timelines. Time bending collapsing timelines, time bending, all these things means collapsing multiple possible outcomes into the one reality we actually intend. So the key is not effort. And this is a crucial thing, because we all know that hustle culture and effort and all these things are manufactured manifestation. Regan Hill here would say it's not getting us beyond the first 5 steps that we've already looked at. So the key is not more effort, but focused consciousness, choosing the pathway and letting scattered possibilities drop away or resolve into form. So if we look at time being information, or being the system that orders information, which is obviously information, but it's a very distinct access to information, the time shortens when unnecessary loops, beliefs, and informational detours collapse. So question number 5, already much more intriguing, although I find the research question that I mentioned earlier also hilarious, at least. Which loops am I investing in? Name the top 3 and work on letting them go. Where do I loop instead of picking this one timeline? Where does my doubt kind of crawl in and making me spend energy in stuff that I already know is not what I want, but I'm doubting and I feel like I should, etc., etc. What's the top 3 loops you're investing your time, your energy, your capital, whatever you invest in? That is number 5. And I can see you thinking a bit harder now. Thank you.